Phyllis. In Unity, we say, despite outward appearances, it is a wonderful world. Well, good morning and welcome, everyone in here, out there, and everywhere. My name is Devta, and I will be your service leader for today. Thank you so much for that beautiful prelude. Let's join together in affirming our identity. Together. We are a heart-centered community seeking spiritual awakening and transformation by deepening our connections with God, self, and others. Thank you so much. Let's join together for our welcoming song, God in Everything. Please stand if you feel so moved.
I see joy.
For those of you here with us today, now is a time to introduce yourself to a newcomer or reconnect with someone you know, and then when you hear the music, please return back to your seats.
I'm seeing. God is the light in which I'm seeing. God is the light in me. God is the light in me. God is the mind that I am thinking. God is the mind that I am thinking. God is the mind in me. God is the mind in me. God is the source and God is the light. God is the source and God is the light. God is the mind in me. God is the mind in me.
It's wonderful to see so much community happening today. Welcome, 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 everyone. Thank you. At the beginning of this service, we affirmed who we are and our values. We use our spiritual tools to attract the individuals and the resources to fuel and form our new reality. One of our most accessible tools is affirmations. Let's combine our voices and speak our transition affirmation aloud. Together? You in Bloomington is generating an abundant future in expansive alignment with spirit. We lean deeply into truth principles, live our faith, and trust the process. Our greatest desire is to be abundant and attract those who value spiritual growth, including our next private ministry. And that includes all of you. So thank you so much for being here today. I am so pleased to introduce our musical inspiration now by Norm Houze and Ron Masters.
I walk the maze of moments, but everywhere I turn to begins a new beginning, but never finds the finish. I walk to the horizon, and there I find another. It all seems so surprising, and then I find that I know. You go there, you're gone forever. I go there, I lose my way. If we stay here, we're not together. Anywhere is. The moon upon the ocean is swept around with emotion, but without ever knowing the reason for its flowing. In motion on the ocean, the moon still keeps on moving, the waves still keep on waving, and I still keep on going. You go there, you're gone forever. I go there, I'll lose my way. If we stay here, we're not together. Anywhere is. I wonder if the stars sign the life that is to be mine, and would they let their light shine enough for me to follow? I look up to the heavens, the night has clouded over, no spark of constellation, no Vela, no Orion. Shells upon the warm sands have taken from their own lands the echo of their story, but I'll hear it as low sounds, as pillow words are weaving and willow waves are leaving. But should I be believing that I am only dreaming? You go there, you go there, I'll lose my way. If we stay here, we're not together. Anywhere is to leave the thread of all time and let it make a dark line. I hope that it can still find a way back to the moment I took the turn and turned to begin a new beginning. Still looking for the answer, I cannot find the finish. It's either this or that way, it's one way or the other. It should be one direction, it could be on reflection. I have turned and turned, the turn that I have taken, the turn that I was making. I might be just beginning, it might be near the end.
I'd also like to recognize Betsy on the drum and the rest of the music team on the Houze. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that wonderful music. Enya was one of my first introductions to new age music, so I really appreciate going back there. I'm honored to get to introduce Norm Houze. Norm and his wife Cricket have been members of Unity of Bloomington since the Waldron days, which sounds like a TV show. But it really means that they've been active participants in the Unity movement here in Bloomington for at least the last 30 years. In addition to being active members of the Unity community, many people equate Norm with his thriving chiropractic and wellness center of 45 years and bicycling. You can't really think of Norm without thinking of bicycling, honestly. As a member of a team and a coach, Norm has racked up a total of 7 wins so far at the Little 500 bicycle race here in Bloomington. In 1996, Norm helped to found the Bloomington-based Disciples Bicycle Road Trip, which takes a group of brave souls on treks of 1,000+ miles to locations all over the US and Canada. The last trip was a 1,500-mile jaunt from Indiana to New England that ended in early July. Disciples is known as much for its spiritual journey as it is for its physical journey. Norm and his bicycle have pedaled more than 100,000 miles all over the US and Canada. During the 1999 Kalachakra World Peace event staged in Bloomington, the Dalai Lama said, "Once a year, go someplace you've never been before." Norm and Cricket took this direction literally, and he and Cricket have visited Asia, Canada, Europe, Central America, the Caribbean, Russia, China, and yes, Tibet. Please help me welcome Norm Houze as he shares the wisdom from his travels and takes us on a journey today.
Thank you, Unity of Bloomington, for inviting me to speak today. This room has had many, many awesome speakers that have shared their knowledge, their experience of spirituality, namely people like Michael May, and just recently Palin, Cricket, Ron, Devta, Phyllis, so many others that's too numerous to mention, but you have brought your spiritual experience to this room and then shared it with everyone. I grew up in a strict Catholic family, and it was a good experience. And I've attended many churches, and I've attended a Unity for the last 33 years. And I attended hundreds of churches along the way on our bicycle trips because we stay overnight in those places. And I often leave the service hearing the message, but still something's missing. But in the past 33 years, the messages here at Unity have been spot on for me and have brought crystal clear clarity regarding universal truth principles and a more meaningful spiritual life. My message today is travel far to meet yourself. Well, how far do you have to travel to meet yourself? So today we're going to go someplace really far and someplace really near. You're probably thinking that which exotic place I've been to that would be exciting to hear about. Or you might think that there would be some powerful, impacting story behind any one of the bicycle trips where I have slept on over 600 church floors. I'm a professional homeless person. Pews and tables for half of my life. Yes, I have pedaled well over 100,000 miles on a bicycle on 49 states, the last one being Alaska, and that's certainly on the bucket list, and most of the provinces of Canada. There are tons of stories there, lots of thrills, drama, spills on what I call a modern-day pilgrimage. We'd be here all day laughing and crying and spellbound on all the stuff that has happened when you take 70, 80 teens and adults on long-distance bicycle trips using their own human power to go from one end of the continent to the other. Or you might think I was sharing a perspective from really cool places like China, Australia, New Zealand, Europe, Russia, the Caymans, Asia, Central America, Caribbean, and other cool exotic places. You could go pretty far, but we're going to go pretty far inside. And Michael, we're going to go really deep, really deep. That's one of your favorite slogans. You know, when the Dalai Lama was here and put Bloomington for the Buddhist Kalachakra World Peace in 1999, he said, each year, make sure to travel someplace in the world you've never been. Why did he say that? Because it expands your human experience, bringing realization that there is more out there than where you live every day. Many of you remember Sam Wendell, a former Unity of Bloomington minister here. He agreed to volunteer for road support in the 2003 Disciples trip from Key West to Bloomington, one of which Zachary was on. On that trip, he was always wandering off. We lost track of him in Key West and Daytona Beach, in St. Augustine, and many other places. When asked where he was and what he was doing, his response was always, I'm looking for God. Well, Sam always was looking for God, and he knew exactly where God was, right where he was standing. So where would we like to go, or where should I take you? Should I take you someplace really far? And we'll do that in our meditation. But I thought that we would go someplace that you've always been, but you haven't necessarily taken the journey there. You remember the 1966 movie Fantastic Voyage, where they miniaturized a submarine and injected it into a human body, and it traveled all through that human body to see what was going on. Rachel Welch was in that movie, and I like any movie with Rachel Welch in it. But that was a journey that was too deep to the inside. And I really mean inside, really inside. But let's go back to when I was 22. After graduating from pre-med with a college degree, shortly after getting married to cricket, I found myself entering my first day of a 5-year postgraduate training to be a doctor. This was a very unique program where I was going to learn about health before learning about disease. How are you going to know about disease unless you know something about these major concepts and vast concepts of health? Well, that first day had a huge impact on my entire personal, professional, and spiritual life because it began a journey, a very super fantastic journey. Are you ready to go? Let's go inside. The inside of a room at the end of the hall. As the door opened, I and my classmates walked into a shocking sight never to forget. That room was filled with dozens of dead bodies. What? Yes, over 100 cadavers laying on gurneys and ready for this new class of neophytes to delve in and study them. Oop. What does that mean? It means, and they told us, that all these cadavers a year from now will look like carved turkeys after Thanksgiving. Do you know what we all said? Where's the door? I'm out of here. I'm not doing this. They said, you want to become a doctor, don't you? Well, yeah, we do, but isn't there another way? Or can't we just do chemistry and physics and throw drugs at a patient's problems and do without all this gore? Do we really need to dissect all those bodies? It's as if they were saying, well, do you really think this is the year 2023 nowadays with the internet and AI doing it for you? No, we had to kind of do it the old school way. Fear and complaining wasn't an option, and basically they were saying, suck it up, buttercup, if you want to be a doctor. Well, okay, let the nightmares begin. And I did have nightmares for the next couple weeks. That's just not an experience most people run into. But are you ready now to go with me into that journey to the inside? A fantastic voyage. Let's break up into groups of 4, assigned to a specific gurney in this room. This is all we need: a dissection kit and Grant's Atlas. My kit was loaded with tweezers, dental forceps, scissors, a scalpel, and a few other things. That's all I needed. Armed with the Grant's Atlas. This is the same one that was sitting there in the anatomy room, dissection of a knee. Whoever drew these was a magician. It was amazing. No YouTube, no internet, just a whole bunch of books. And every day we are given instructions how to systematically unwrap and dismantle a human body. There are dissection models all over the room. There are shelves and casements holding body parts from previous classes. They included anomalies and birth defects, artificial joints, kidney stones, ovarian cysts the size of an exercise ball. That was unbelievable. There are fractured bones and brain tumors, congenital birth defects, and hundreds of other abnormalities on display throughout this huge room. The stench of formaldehyde permeated everything in the room, eventually including the students. Yuck. This is gross. From the very beginning, it's important not to butcher anything. Every cut of the scalpel was with precise intention. First, we started with the distal parts, and then the proximal parts. What the heck is that? Yes, we had to know all the words and methods and what they mean. Superior, inferior, ventral, dorsal, medial, lateral, internal, external, and a ton of other anatomical nomenclature. It's good I took Latin in high school and was an altar boy reciting the Latin Mass, because most of the medical terms come from Latin and Greek derivatives. Okay, just follow the instructions. So somebody in the team would yell out the instructions, and then whoever had the best manual dexterity and the scalpel started to make the cuts. That's where we began with the easy part. Now take the scalpel and carefully not cut yourself, but make the first 8 inches cut on the side of the forearm. I need a volunteer, Cricket. Come on up. I'm going to show you some of the cuts that we first did. Cricket has always been my volunteer. Come on up here. It's like Ash Wednesday. So you go down in there and show them all of your markings. Make the first cut 8 inches on the side of the forearm. Show her the forearm, Cricket. Then make a series of side cuts as shown in the diagram. Don't go too deep to avoid destroying other tissues we'll need to dissect later. So we don't want to do that. Well, if this person was a chronic smoker, which you're not, thankfully, their skin may be more leather-like and more pressure on the cut might be necessary. But if you're a drug addict, your skin just might fall apart as you're cutting it. So we just didn't know what the history of these people were. You can go ahead and have a seat. A couple hours later, we will dig into the main muscle of the right forearm, the brachioradialis, right where that marking is. Wow, this is an amazing muscle, the first one that we've been able to dissect, and look at all of its connections. This is the main artery that supplies, and behind it is the main artery that supplies the muscle with good, fresh, oxygenated blood. And over here is the vein that drains the muscle of its lactic acid and carbon dioxide after gardening all day. And behind those vessels is the nerve. Oh, without that nerve, or if that nerve is being pinched or twisted or kinked, I'm not going to play the piano. Not you either, Phyllis. Or Cricket and the rest of you are not going to peel carrots tonight. It ain't happening. So that nerve is pretty amazing. Do we have to name and identify all the parts we just dissected? Yep, every single one of them, and keep them in your head forever. Okay, that was hard because that was just the first dissection. When all the teams are done after a week of work on the right forearm, everything else is left alone, the instructor announces, rotate, just like in a volleyball game. You make rotate positions to the next cadaver to see the same dissection done by another team. Why? Because there is no two right forearms that are the same. Not even your left and your right forearm are the same. This is why every group tries not to botch their dissection. Unfortunately, some teams can seem like bulls in a china shop, and that's why they're not surgeons today. They're mostly researchers. That's not a hit on researchers, but anyway. There's a lot of people that showed up, and they never played a musical instrument, they never played sports, and they have no idea. But boy, they can just look at a book, and whew, it was in there. So you're dealing with a lot of people that have incredible gifts and skills, and everybody has a little different skill and gift. Next, all of us will continue with the upper arm. Step by step and inch by inch, we cut, we probe, and we scrape away lots of connective tissue and fat and throw it in a pile. Because that stuff, we called it fungoids, meaning it didn't really have any kind of nomenclature to it, so it was just stuff. So we just threw it off to the side. In a couple days after each of these 3-hour sessions, we have the entire right arm and all of its parts completely and beautifully dissected, being able to identify to get the grade. By this time, we are past the fear and scared stage. This is starting to get interesting. We are gaining respect and increasingly introspective about the body we are exploring. We're going deep inside. It's almost as if we can't wait to get to the next part, the lower extremity. This is much more of a challenge with everything being bigger, longer, and extremely complex. Each limb took about a month to fully dissect all around the front, back, and the sides. Here was the sciatic nerve, the biggest and longest and biggest and baddest nerve in the body, and a real pain in the butt. Is anyone familiar with this? Yeah, okay. Yep, it's one of the most common afflictions that put people in doctor's offices. Dissecting the hip, the knee, the ankle, and the foot became a true art form. Everything is so complex and interconnected, you couldn't put it together yourself. Ligaments are everywhere. Blood vessels, lymphatic channels, nerves, and endless branches of all these vessels. The muscles that allow us to pedal a bicycle across the country are huge and well defined. It's amazing how much power these muscles use to get things done, even if it's just standing all day. The many names and complex terms are starting to make sense. We are all just shaking our heads in disbelief at this amazing body that we are working on. It's been almost half a year, and it's time to turn to the good part, the fun parts, the core, the inner workings. First, we unwrap and dive into the low back. Oh my gosh, this is unbelievable. There are muscles and ligaments everywhere. For example, when we dissected the knee earlier on, we found 4 ligaments whose names are easy to remember. Everyone has heard of the ACL that blows out in the soccer and basketball players. But we got the PCL, we got the lateral collateral ligament, we got the medial collateral ligament. That's it. Okay, so the knee isn't held together by too much. By contrast, you know how many ligaments are in the low back? 4,000. Wow. The entire lumbar spine is covered in ligaments and connective tissue holding it together day after day. It takes several days to get into the vertebral column, the low back, down deep where the sun never shines. The nerves exiting this part of the spinal cord look atrophied on a lot of them. They are smaller and scarred. Why are they scarred? Well, this guy must have had a lot of low back issues. And we all have low back issues. It's the number one condition that walks into doctor's offices, and that's listed on insurance forms in the United States. And could it be because we all made a mistake? When we were 1 year old, before that, we got from point A to point B crawling. And we decided we don't want to do that anymore. We want to get up on our hind legs and use these things for playing guitar and doing all kinds of other cool stuff. But the low back says, well, but you're not, Cricket, you're not going to do this forever. You're not going to be standing on your hind legs forever. And Cricket says, yeah, I want to do what everybody else is doing. That's why everybody has low back pain, because we're trying to do wheelies all day long. Okay. A month later, the mid-back is next. Okay, so we just came out of a pretty complex place, and now we're going to go into the mid-back. Wow, there are 24 ribs on each side. They're the only bones that move 24/7. Your ankles don't move 24/7. When you're going to sleep, they just sit there and they're very steady. But when you go to sleep, something has to move to keep you breathing. And so all of your ribs are moving in and out, in and out. So, wow, that's pretty dynamic. Dissecting each one of those without messing anything up is a real chore. In fact, one team accepted the nearly impossible project to completely extract the entire spine out of the body from the neck to the tailbone. That exhausting process took an entire year. There is no other body part, including your heart, including your brain, that seems to be so intricately interconnected through muscles, ligaments, and tendons and connective tissue than your spine. Let's hope you never need back surgery, because it's almost like opening up a Pandora's box. Then another month later, we go into the neck. Oh, this thing makes 1 million movements per day, and it's just covered in ligaments and muscles. You know how I know it's 1 million? I just didn't pull that out of the sky. The same technology they use for narrating an animated movie, like Finding Dory or Finding Nemo or Cars or any of those, Wall-E, don't those characters, as they're speaking anymore, look like human beings speaking with all the gestures of their face and the shoulders and that type of thing? Or the genie in Aladdin, and that's Robin Williams. Well, what they do is they take a guy like Robin Williams as he's speaking, and they hook up all kinds of electrodes on his forehead and on his cheeks, on his neck, everywhere, so that a computer will remember all those movements and then be able to apply them to a cartoon figure which is amazing technology. But they use the same technology to count how many neck movements you make per day, and it's 1 million. Now, most of those are little movements like, talking and gesturing and things like that. And then others are like, turning your head this way, that type of thing. 1 million movements with your neck. And there's little nerves that come out of little spaces that aren't very big, and they can really easily get pinched. And when a nerve is pinched, it's like slowing your high-speed internet down to slow speed or dial-up. Remember dial-up? Okay, so you don't want a nervous system that's on dial-up. You want it on high speed for sure. But they come out of tiny spaces, and they can get easily pinched and cause a lot of misery. But as you come into the front of the neck, wow, there's some cool stuff there, like your thyroid. That little organ is responsible for your metabolism and your growth. And it just does it automatically without you thinking about it. Dissecting the vocal cords, Dan. Ooh, does that make you have a sore throat at all? And it's just awe-inspiring knowing that these little bands in your neck sing all the songs that you ever sang. And for anyone to speak a zillion words. It's just, okay, this is too cool. By this time, there is no goofing around by anybody in that room, or they're not scared at all anymore like we were when we first went in there because of this unbelievable experience. Back at the dorm, when Cricket would come home from teaching school, she would ask, "What did you do today in anatomy dissection class?" And I said, "We opened up the head. Cricket, I need you again. Come on up." I was going to bring a hacksaw, but I thought that was a little bit too graphic for this room.
That's better than a dummy.
Is that graphic enough? That was weird. That got us back into the scared mode because this is a little bit too close to the head. Inside that was a mainframe computer that blows the doors off the complexity of all computers in this world and supercomputers interconnected together and holding all that data. It's just unbelievable. And that took another whole semester just to go through all of that. That was amazing. The final couple months took us into the chest and the heart and the lungs and all the connecting vessels. Memorizing all the branches of the aorta and the vena cava was like memorizing a roadmap of the United States. Studying the heart anatomy and its cardiophysiology required another full semester. It's pretty complex now, but it's getting in there. It's getting in there. Then we get to the guts. The stomach, the liver, the gallbladder, the pancreas, the spleen, small intestine, large intestine, kidneys, adrenals, and oh yes, the sex organs. Can you imagine a room predominantly full of young guys with a minority of young females studying what everybody laughs, snickers, and makes jokes about? Well, by this time, everybody is pretty respectful, except for just a couple goof-offs. The complexity of this region required yet another year of dissection and study. There was pretty amazing things that we discovered. One was a uterus with a baby in it. So a cadaver that had a uterus with a baby in it, and that baby was calcified. It is as if Michelangelo himself sculpted out of stone a fetus where you could see fingernails and fingerprints. And the story on that was this gal had a baby, and she is of a religious order that didn't believe in doctors or interventions. But she did believe in drugless, non-surgical doctors. So she was a patient at the school clinic and later willed her body to science, and this is what they find in her uterus, and that she had many, many kids, something like a dozen kids, and this was like her 8th kid. So she had kids after she had not even a stillbirth. This just didn't leave her body. And what's interesting about the body, it does oftentimes wall off things that it doesn't know what to do with. So we call that, it is called a fetolith. Lith means rock or stone. And that was quite the story. But while this doesn't even come close, all the things that I've talked about in this short 10 or 15 minutes describing the totality of the experience, I'm often asked, who impacted you most in your passion being a doctor? My response is always a dead guy. That cadaver that looked like a turkey after Thanksgiving was a real person. Someone who grew up, who went to school, who had a job, who married and had kids and lived a full life, and maybe his greatest gift was to me. After his life, he empowered me when taking that journey inside, way inside, and gave me the courage and the knowledge to be a caregiver to so many. His name was Paul, and I remember him in that fantastic journey every day. You don't have to go really, really far to meet yourself, because you can keep going deep and deep and deeper, and it's endless of where you can go. So maybe I misled everybody. Maybe they thought I was going to take you on one of my bike trips or one of my other trips. And I will attempt to do that during the meditation. I was originally booked to speak on this date back in early June, but then an opportunity for Unity to host the Kalachakra monks from Eastern Tibet on that date bumped me to another time. While on my recent bike trip, I was contacted that the monks ultimately couldn't make that date for some reason, so I was put back on the slot for speaking today, and that gave me an idea. Why not take everyone here to Tibet? Travel far to meet yourself, right? You can't get any farther from here on this planet than Tibet. In 1999, at the Kalachakra World Peace event held at the Tibetan Cultural Center in Bloomington, Cricket and I were asked if we could host 25 monks for 2 weeks at our residence. We live about a half mile from that amazing place that was hosting the Dalai Lama at that time. It was in August and was super hot and uncomfortable for this contingent of the Dalai Lama's monks. We, of course, said, yes, of course you can stay here, all 25 of them. We're so used to staying in churches on floors, why can't they stay at our house? The next day, the U.S. State Department knocked on our door and checked our house for bombs and weapons. Okay, that we didn't anticipate. This was a high security thing, and they weren't taking any chances. It was during our 25th wedding anniversary, and for those 2 weeks, it was like going on a vacation vicariously to Tibet. The monks fixed all of our food, showed us videos and pictures of their homeland, and shared their Buddhist religious beliefs and rituals and customs of which we had no idea what they were. We played ping pong and 5-on-5 basketball tournaments. Imagine Buddhist monks playing basketball in togas and sandals in 90 degrees. That was interesting. They're pretty good, too. Pretty fast. Every morning we would wake up, though, to this drone of chants down in our lower level of our residence. It did take us to the foothills of the Himalayan mountains. One morning, since they were chanting near where my home studio is located, I asked if I could record their chants. They said, of course. So I plopped a microphone down on the floor with 24 monks sitting in lotus position, chanting and reciting their prayers. This was golden. I know what I was going to do with this. At that time, I was going through a period of playing a lot of New Age ambient music and had a perfect background song that I composed for these Tibetan chants. So, 24 years later, here we go. The monks will reappear during today's meditation with photos of their 1999 visit and of their beautiful homeland. So we will do that, and thanks for the opportunity to speak here, and you can go ahead with the meditation, pre-meditation music.
Inside there is peace. Inside there is joy. Inside there is sacred love. I will leave this world as it is. Go inside to find my God. I will leave this world as it is. Go inside to find my God. Go inside to find my God. I'll go inside to find my God.
Thank you.
We bless this moment. We bless this time. We've come together to share this life. In this now moment, with our hearts open, one in spirit, we bless this time. In this now moment, with our hearts open, one in spirit, we bless this time.
What a treat to be able to go inside on so many different levels, to hear the accompaniment that Norm provided to the chanting of the monks really reminded me that those monks, every day, multiple times a day, are doing that as a service to the world. And those chants ride on their breaths, which ride on the wind. In gratitude to them, in gratitude to Norm, I invite you to feel the abundance that we have and the commitment of all those who are joining their voices. There's so much more to be grateful for, but from this space and this mindset of gratitude, please join with me in speaking aloud our abundance affirmation. Together. I am an abundant being in an abundant universe. I am not dependent on people or situations for my good. God is the source of my supply. I always have something to give, and I consistently give it. I expect the best, I give my best, and I now attract the best in every experience. Thank you.
The kingdom of God is within you. The kingdom of God is around you. The kingdom of God is everywhere you go. The kingdom of God is within you. The kingdom of God is around you. The kingdom of God is in everyone you know. Wherever you go, you're in God's care. You can feel God's presence everywhere. In your mind and in your heart, where things end and where things start. The kingdom of God is within you. The kingdom of God is around you. The kingdom of God is everywhere you go. The kingdom of God is within you. The kingdom of God is around you. The kingdom of God is in everyone you know.
Thank you for everything you do, everything you are, and the open-heartedness from which you give. Our offering blessing describes exactly how that flow of abundance happens. As we release our offerings into the world to do the work that they are meant to do, let's bless them together with these words. Together?
Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all
all so grateful for renewed activity in our community. Can you feel it? The workshops and the classes, the support and the guidance, things are rearranging. And let me tell you about some of them. There is a board meeting on August the 7th at 5:30. On August the 20th, there is a Course in Miracles workshop entitled Everything You've Always Wanted to Know About A Course in Miracles but Didn't Want to Have to Read the Whole course to Find Out. It's a thick book and very dense, so it's very helpful.
Footnotes.
Yes. Another board meeting on August the 21st at 5:30. And on August the 27th, Joni Spain will provide a workshop called Contemplative Spiritual Practices. A couple of other announcements. We do need some assistance with our child care program. This is one of the things that's happening in our community is we have some children that are showing up on a regular basis. And we need an adult down there with the person who is the primary caretaker. So you are there just to provide safety and to help with any activities. It's a very light lift. It's a lot of fun, and you don't have to do it all the time, but please let us know. You can send an email to Unity of Bloomington or U of B Community, uofbcommunity@gmail.com if you feel called to help with this. There's also a new community engagement team that's being led by Brianne Bowser. Brianne, are you here today? No, not today. This group will plan and implement ways to make Unity more visual in the Bloomington and the larger community and create social opportunities to provide a closer community with fundraising and projects. You can contact Doris at ministry@unityofbloomington.org if you're interested in being a part of this team. Both of those things are in our newsletter, so if I've gone through them kind of quickly, then you can refer back to the newsletter for both of those email addresses. A huge thank you. This is an example of someone in our community who has a unique gift, who said, I know how to put on events and I know about fundraising. Let me do this for you. So if you also have a unique skill or gift and you're looking for a way to plug into this community, please let us know. Ministry@unityofbloomington.org. We also, as part of our speaker series, have some really cool things that are happening. On August the 6th, we'll have a meditation Sunday led by Dan Pekarski and Marianne Williams. On the 13th, we will have Roy Capio. He'll be talking with us about abundance, a very popular topic. And then on the 20th, we will have Reverend Karen Williams, who is one of the two people who lead the A Course in Miracles workshops. She'll be talking with us about living inner peace with, she's got a really cute name for it, I don't want to mess it up. Living inner peace with all the hooting and hollering in the outer world. And then finally on August the 27th, we have a spirited journey, which is a panel presentation. Before we say the prayer for protection together, I invite you to close your eyes. If that feels comfortable, take a deep breath in. And know that when we say God in this prayer and in all prayers and all of our songs, we're not talking about any force that's outside of us. Instead, when we say God, we're activating a remembrance of oneness with all beings, with all things. We are activating a remembrance of oneness with all beings and all things. From that place of knowing, now open your eyes and let's join together in saying the prayer aloud. Together? The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. If you're able, please join together in a circle if you're present here. If you are online, please know that we include you in our circle. and through song we affirm the reality we wish to manifest and commit to our role in making that happen.